showing you my do-it-yourself video on my nail polish rack. And right here behind me, this is in fact my nail polish rack or shelf. Okay, so I was on the hunt for a nail polish rack or shelf because I had a lot of nail polish that I really wanted to display and store, and it's an expensive collection, especially with those of you who like to collect Essie and China Glaze and OPI and stuff like that. Even if you don't, even if you just have drugstore brands, like it can add up, and you want a place to keep it. You can even use this as like a storage for other makeup or small trinkets and stuff. But anyway, I was looking for a nail polish rack online to purchase. They're really hard to find. I can't find them at any stores around me, but when I was looking online, they're all really, really expensive. Like, we're talking like $150, $200. So naturally, I turned to YouTube looking up different DIY videos, and I was looking it up on Pinterest, you know, on the internet, and just trying to find ways to make your own DIY nail polish rack, because I wanted to make one because I obviously couldn't afford to spend $200 on one. A lot of the racks that I found were actually made out of that foam material, which is like 2 poster boards that have like foam in the middle, and that stuff is actually really, really sturdy. It'll definitely hold your nail polish, like it'll be strong enough, but I wanted something that would last me a long time and would look nice in my room, so I completely scratched that off my list. And then I found a video that Dulce Candy actually did, and she actually did a really good one with outdoors, but hers used only wood glue. She never nailed any of it, and I was just like, oh, come on. I figured if I'm gonna go ahead and be making something with wood and glue anyways, I might as well get out a nail gun and a couple more tools and really build something. I just decided that if you wanted something done right, you're going to have to do it yourself. You're going to have to make it exactly the way that you want it. And since I was already going into it and making it how I wanted, I decided that I wanted to put doors on it. And that's just because when you have something hanging up like in your room like I do, because I just have it up in my room, I didn't want all the conflicting bright colors that I have in nail polish to be hanging up in my room. Because my room is really well decorated, and it's black, white, pink, and green. So I didn't want any contrasting colors to be popping out, and I don't know, I just think it looks a lot nicer to have the door on it. So overall, my nail polish rack costed me about $40, but if you aren't going to do the doors on it, it's going to be about half that price. It's only going to cost you probably $20, maybe $30 for just the nail polish rack. And the hardest part about this was honestly the door. Like, the door took a lot of work. So if you guys are planning on doing a door like I did, just plan on a whole world of surprises with that. But if you're just doing the rack itself, it doesn't take too long. It'd probably take you about the weekend. I'd say maybe like a 10-hour project. You could definitely get it done in one day, in like 6 hours if you wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and show y'all the materials that I used to make my nail polish rack and teach you guys how to make it. All of the supplies that I used for this entire project were purchased at either Lowe's or Home Depot, so any home improvement store. And make sure that you ask people when you're there for help, ask for assistance and what type of wood they recommend or what type of paint they think that you should use. Tell them what the project is that you're doing, and they should be able to help you out a lot, because I'm not a professional. I also really, really recommend asking someone for help, someone who knows how to use tools. If y'all know how to use like nail guns and stuff, then go for it, but I do not at all, and my dad helped me so much. So Dad, if you're watching this, thank you so much, because I absolutely love my shelf. In the description box below, I'm going to make sure to mention all the supplies that I used to make my nail polish rack, including the actual rack and the doors on it. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you're going to do, obviously, is to decide how big you want your nail polish rack to be. You can either count up your nail polishes or just kind of decide how much room you want to use up on your wall. You just want to decide either how much nail polish you need to put on the rack or where you're going to display it, if you want it to sit up on your desk or if you want it to hang on the wall. Just decide how big you want it to be. I decided that I wanted mine 2 feet by 3 feet, so it's 2 feet across right here and then 3 feet vertical. Okay, so when I divided out the space, I actually have 9 shelves on this entire project, and each shelf is 4 inches because about each nail polish is about 4 inches tall. Now, the very top is actually a little bit shorter because I didn't have quite enough room. So it's a little bit less than 4 inches up here. But as you can see, Essie nail polishes and the smaller Ulta nail polishes Make
still
sure
fit up
before
there.
you go to the home improvement store that you know what measurements you want and that you know what sizes you need of all the wood. Because when I was at Home Depot and Lowe's, they actually have someone there that will cut it for you. So I didn't have to have like a fancy saw or anything like that. They actually cut my big MDF pieces like exactly how I wanted it. So I had them like take one of these big pieces and make a bunch of tiny strips like this out of it, and they just do that all for you. So that's really, really handy. Okay, so I used MDF board, which is what this is right here. It's a man-made board. It's not like real wood. well, I guess it's real wood. I don't know. I don't really know what it is, but I know it's man-made and it's really, really inexpensive. I got these 2x3 pieces for about $5 each. So I used 3 of these MDF boards to make my shelf, and I used one to make the back, like the base, and then I used one to make the front. So I just got it cut vertically down the middle and used that for the 2 doors. And then I actually got it cut into strips, into 2-inch strips like this. And these are what I used for the shelves. So right here, these shelf pieces are actually just this board right here. Okay, I also got these other MDF boards, and these are 2 inches by 1.5 inch, 2 by 1/2. And this actually is just thicker than the original MDF board, and it has a primer on it, this white primer right here, which makes it so much easier to paint.
Knows that I am a secret spy. I follow you home, careful to walk.
I actually really recommend this material that has the white primer on it already because it is so much easier to paint. You can actually just spray the entire project with spray paint when you're finished with whatever color that you want to do. But if you use this MDF board, this is actually super, super hard to paint. I finished my project and I painted the whole thing with black spray paint, like good spray paint. It was like $5 or $6 a can, and I used 3 cans of it, and I still couldn't get a good coverage. Like, it was still like streaky, and it wasn't fully like covered. Like, it was kind of, parts were really well covered and then parts weren't, and it just went really bad. So I guess that this wood's hard to paint, and I actually had to go and purchase a different type of paint. I used this Painter's Touch paint, and I just poured this out onto a plate and took like a roller like you would for walls, and I just painted the doors and stuff with it that way, and eventually I got the whole thing covered, but it took a whole bunch of work. So I would just recommend using a paint that's going to cover it. You can totally ask people at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever home improvement store you go to. So I would definitely recommend asking the people at your home improvement store what paint they would suggest or what wood they think would work well to paint over for this project. So this is the wood that I used to make the border or like frame of my shelf. So I just started off by taking the big MDF board like this, and then using these boards to build like a big picture frame like this. Then I just glued my frame pieces straight onto my backboard, and then I put some nails into the board to keep it sturdy. That's why you want to use a thicker board like this for the frame and not something like this, because you can't put nails into this because it's too thin. So you're going to want to find a thicker board like this that's going to provide a lot of strength for your project, and that's going to be able to put nails into it to keep it nice and sturdy.
I climb up your tree and hide in the leaves to keep you from seeing who I am. Call me obsessed, but I need to know your name, your age, your address, and where in the
Now, when you're creating your actual shelves, you're going to want to either debate on using this kind of boarding like I did, or if you want to use something thicker. If you use something thin like this one, keep in mind that this will bend. Like, do you see how this is not going to hold it super great? Of course, nail polish isn't like super strong, but if you want this to be a really sturdy shelf, I would suggest putting little supports on it that's going to like help it from bending. So just like taking supports on either side, like little wooden pieces to hold up the wood in between each shelf layer, just to keep it sturdy.
I'm on the brink of falling right out.
If you use something like this, this isn't really going to bend. I mean, if you force it, I guess it will, but if you use something like this, it's going to be pretty strong. You might want to use some kind of supports on the edges anyways, just to make sure that it's not going to fall apart on you. But when I put on my shelf pieces, I literally just glued it straight on there. I didn't need to do any nails into it because I used this, so no nails. So to glue on my shelf pieces, I just used Elmer's glue. I didn't need to put in any nails or anything like that because this is going to hold up very nicely with a wood glue. So just any sort of wood glue should work. And I just glued it along the edge and stuck it right on there. And that glued really, really fast, and it's so sturdy. Like, these shelves are not going anywhere. I actually took this piece, which is the length of my 2 feet, and had it cut in half just because I wanted 2 different shelf sides, and then I glued one of these woods down the middle as like a middle beam support.
All about your mom and your favorite song and why you hypnotize me while I tell you why I'm the definition of obsessive compulsive crazy love.
Okay, so these are the tiny little pieces of the MDF board, and I just cut these to be 4 inches to fit in each section. I use these as supports to hold up my shelves because, as you can tell, if they didn't have this on each side, then they would just be held up with glue. And I wanted there to be something in between each shelf to prevent any sliding. After you have the frame glued onto the back piece and you have the shelves placed on and the supports on, you are done. You guys are good to go. You can go ahead and paint it and have it hung up on your wall however you choose. Get different anchors or something like that to put it into your wall, and you guys are done. But if you wanted to continue with that project and go ahead and make doors on it like I did, then I'll go ahead and tell you how I did that. So like I said before, my door, once again, is just one of these MDF pieces cut down the middle. I just had the guy at Home Depot. I was just like, hey, cut it down the middle, please. And he did that for me. Then you need to pick out the hinges that you want, just like the little hinge things that are going to open and close the door. So here are the little hinges right there, and they're just put in on my shelf on this side and then screwed in on this side as well. There are many different kinds of hinges that you can use, but these are the ones that I picked out, and then I just painted over them. And then I used 4 of those. I used one on the top and one on the bottom on both sides. Then, of course, you want to measure out where you're going to put your hinges to make sure that they are at the equal level on each side so that when you look at it, like your shelf has like the hinges on equal sides. I did mine about 3 inches from the top and from the bottom of the shelves. If you do the hinges, you need to make sure you use a stiffer board, like I said, for the frame like this, because you need something thick enough to put screws through it and to hold the hinges in place. Then I ended up doing a magnetic closure on my doors, so if you can hear that little closing sound. There are magnetic closures on my doors, and that just makes it, holds it on there nice and strong. And that was really easy. You just get 2 pieces of the magnetic closure, and you just screw it on one piece on the inside, which is the magnet, and then a flat metal piece, which is magnetic, onto the door, so that when the door closes, it will magnetic
Right here in the
together.
middle is the magnetic closure, and then I have this center beam for support, and then these are the shelves that I have that each of the nail polishes are displayed
And then the funnest
on.
part is picking out doorknobs. I went to the section of Home Depot and I just found these little square ones that I think are so cute and so fun. Just pick out whatever kind of doorknobs you want to do. Of course, you don't have to do doorknobs. You don't have to do a magnetic closure if you don't want to. You could just have the doors be plain and simple, and you can just pull them open by hand. But I thought that the doorknobs were really cool and really fun and added quite a bit to them. They're usually like $2 to $3 per doorknob. So I just picked out 2 that I really liked. And you can pick out any of them. They have so many different choices.
These are the door handles, and these are just cute little square ones that I picked out. And I actually had to paint and glue on this little black block right here so that I had something thick enough to put the screw through for the doorknob. But that's not really a problem because when you close it, it doesn't show or anything.
Then I obviously just painted mine with a glossy black paint, and you can use whatever paint that you want, obviously whatever color matches your room or the room that you're going to put it in. I thought that the glossy finish was really nice touch, and I just thought it looked pretty and classy, so I really loved that. Now, to put the actual shelf up on the wall, that part is probably the most difficult step, I would say. What we did, me and my dad, was we put the anchors into the wall. We put 4 of them in, and those just screw into the wall, and then you hold the actual shelf up to the anchors, and you screw the holes through the shelving, and you put the screw into the walls, and then it's actually anchored and mounted up onto your wall. And it's not going anywhere. This thing is so strong and so sturdy, like it's never going to move. So if you really wanted to get it off of the wall, you could just unscrew it. So it's not permanently in the wall or anything like that. You're not going to ruin your walls by putting this in it, but it is in there really well. It's not going to fall down. It's very, very, very sturdy. I actually mounted my shelf up onto my wall before I put the hinges and the doors on it. And then the last step for the entire project is to put the doorknobs on. So I hope that y'all found this nail polish rack DIY video helpful. If you guys have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them below. And like I said, I'm going to have all of the other information below in the description box below, so y'all can definitely check that out. Let me know if you guys try this out for yourselves, and thank you so much for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in a later video. Mwah!
I rock your dance as if you were free.